Welcome to the Caregiving Podcast. I'm Inga.
And I'm Julie.
And long story short, we have Caregiving. We are two momtrepreneurs who have built an in-home care business from the ground up, guided every step of the way by God's care and fueled by agape love. Almost 14 years later, we felt called to create this podcast as a resource for families with caregiving needs. Whether you care for a family member or are looking for advice on professional caregiving, we want this to be a platform to support you.
Each week, we will come to you with encouraging stories of families who have found the right balance for their loved ones, tips for how to care for them and you, and much more. We hope you continue to join us each week as we share in this exciting new journey together.
Hello, Sunshines, and hello, Julie. How are you?
I am well.
Yeah?
I am well. How are you?
I'm just so fine. I just can't even believe it.
Nice.
Isn't that a great feeling?
Oh, my word. I love that.
Yes. Again, the sun is shining.
Yes.
It's another day where the sun is shining.
Oh, boy. Doesn't that help your whole sense of everything?
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. It is crazy, the energy when that sun comes out, especially after, getting through a long winter.
Yep.
It shows up and all of a sudden you're out dancing a jig and your neighbors think you look like a crazy person. Oh, not you, just me? Okay. All right, then. Maybe that didn't happen.
Nobody ever thinks I'm a crazy person.
Oh, never. I know you do a mean rain dance.
Oh, yeah. I got it shaken so well that we actually had rain that one time.
Hey, that's awesome. That's just one more thing to add to your resume.
Yes. Booty shaker.
Rainmaker.
Booty shaker, rainmaker.
Oh, boy. Here we go. Oh, my gosh. So today we're actually going to be talking about aging in place. And have you learned anything new lately?
Yeah, as I was researching aging in place, I was like, what the heck does that mean, right? Mm-hmm. It's such a well-used verse, but let's get to understand it. Mm-hmm. And the one thing that as I was thinking about what have I learned new lately, every day I learn something new. And then, having Alyssa join our team, mm-hmm. I have just had to get more and more competent mm-hmm. in computers. Mm-hmm. And that's such a good thing. Because every day you got to learn something. You got to press yourself. I do ask a lot of stupid questions. But even when my dad, he was older when he got his job with the tribe. Mm-hmm. And one of their questions was about, his computer literacy. And he was like, you know what? I got everything else in this job nailed, but I can learn this.
Oh, that is fantastic.
So it's all about your attitude mm-hmm. and your willingness to think about it.
Yes.
And learn. And so computers and social media, we're all over the place mm-hmm. now. And so I'm really trying to keep up with that. And every day it's learning something new. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I'm so proud of us that we were able to connect with Alyssa.
Oh, goodness.
And because she does teach us new things all the time.
And that's all on you and your family.
Oh, well.
You met this pretty cool cat and now she's part of the Apaga family.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, then, it goes back a ways, but
right.
The bottom line is it has to do with showing sheep. Yeah. That's how we met her. And I did not know at that time what a tremendous human she is, but I'm so glad that she's part
thrilled.
of us.
She's thrilled.
Yes, I'm sure.
Every
day.
We're getting a look. We're getting a look.
She's like, could you stop it, please?
Yeah.
Enough already.
We love you, Alyssa.
Oh, goodness. Well, I learned two things.
Yeah.
When I was reviewing the research that you put together for this, I learned that I made a really good choice when we built our house that we're in now, because a lot of the things that are going to be discussed today mm-hmm. are already part of the plan that I had when this came together.
Oh.
And then I also learned that it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you have a plan before you go, it doesn't have to be a solid plan. It can be flexible, but if you have a plan going into certain situations, it's generally going to go better.
Are you talking about working sheep?
I am 1,000% talking about working sheep, and we're getting so good at being prepared when we go out there now and
making
knowing
the plan,
what we want to
working the plan.
Oof, it's game changer.
Oh, I love it. That's funny. Yeah. Good.
Yeah. So the verse of the week, let's see. It is Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 7. Remember the days of old. Consider the generations long past. Ask your father, and he will tell you, your elders, and they will explain to you.
And that's just, again, with this topic of aging in place, let's not forget that just because somebody's getting older, they just have so much wisdom.
Oh my gosh.
And just ask them questions and get their history and their stories. And they'll probably be able to teach you a thing or two.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
There is so much abundance of knowledge and wisdom in our elders, and we just have to respect that and slow down and take the time to listen. And it's just too much fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What'd you bring for an uplifting story today?
Oh, well, I got to find it because evidently I ate it.
I think I meant to say, what did you bring for an
What
uplifting
did I
story?
bring?
Not what'd you.
I brought just something about how to pray for your aging parents.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes. This one was written by a gentleman that after a long time of receiving prayers from his parents, this one son committed to offering them daily for his elderly mom and dad. Oh. And he just talked about as he was a kid, how his parents' love eased his fears and filled him with confidence. I learned to play baseball with dad. Mom fed me with wonderful cooking. But these days, they are the ones who need the care and the provision. And so he talked about walking to church, and they would lead as he would play along the way. And he just took that for granted almost, that there was safety in that. And so now the roles are reversed. Watching my parents age is difficult and painful, as it is for many of us. I can't stop the aging process. However, there's one thing I can do every day for them. I can pray and follow their example. They taught me to pray for all things and believe nothing is impossible with God. When I was hospitalized as an 8-year-old with a kidney infection, they prayed for me. My father prayed for us kids before we headed out to school. When I got my driver's license, they prayed for my safety. The day I dropped out of college, my mom cried and then prayed for my success. Every day that I was away at my wedding, they prayed for my new bride and me. And when the grandkids arrived, they prayed for them. Now more than ever, it's my turn to pray on their behalf. I pray for the Lord to give them strength when they are weak, comfort when they are sad and troubled. I ask God to provide their daily needs and give them caring doctors. And then I pray that they will adhere to the medical counsel. So that is really nice. And actually, years ago, my mother gave me a book on how to pray for your growing children.
Oh, wow.
And she's the world's best prayer. And what's really cool about her is there was one time that my brother Andrew had a real scary situation as he was driving cows to the auction. And I don't know exactly the whole story, but something about he just about veered, or somebody about hit him. He had to veer off into the culvert area. And right at that time, Mom just felt like she needed to say a prayer. And he was able to get through that. And he called her and said, "Were you praying for me?" You know, It was one of those really amazing situations. And she's always been such a good person to know that if you need something, just call her, and she's right there for you.
Yeah.
And so that power of prayer.
Oh, absolutely.
But now I notice how much I pray for my kids. And so, but you know what? We just got to pray for each other always.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and isn't it interesting? I've had that happen before too, where like you just get this feeling.
Yeah.
You're like, I have to stop everything. I have to say a prayer right now. And it's by design. I'm sure.
It's just, it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, I found a story, and it's about a secondhand store, Remarkable Cleanouts, in Norwood, Massachusetts, and it goes like this. So one of the oddest things about COVID-19 pandemic is that it's hard to identify people at times because they're wearing a mask, right? So it can be tough even to notice people that you regularly see in the community because they're just, a lot of their face is obscured. So in this particular case, people were trying to locate a gentleman named, or actually not just locate, but identify John Thomas Archer. He was a 23-year-old architecture student, and he actually just wowed people. He had gone into this Remarkable Cleanouts secondhand store, and basically what happened is he walked into the store, he asked the employee if he could play one of the pianos that was there. It did have a sign on it that said, do not play. So he asked for permission first, and the employee said, gave permission for him to go ahead and sit down and play. So he sits down at this Steinway piano, and he started banging out a song that always gets everyone at the bar singing along. Don't Stop Believin' by Journey, right? I would think that most people know that song or would recognize it. So everyone just knew. They knew what he was playing, and right off the bat, and the song just had this infectious bass line. And so the store actually captured a video of it, and they put it onto social media. It went wild, right? But basically, it made the store owner so happy that he actually wanted to give the piano to this kid. Oh,
my word.
Okay. But then we remember that we're in COVID times. We have masks on our faces. We have no idea who this kid is.
Oh, wow.
So they put this video out and just started just trying to get some traction on locating this kid. And there was a news station that put it out there about trying to locate the mystery man. And I guess basically the following Tuesday, Archer's girlfriend sent him a text that said, people are looking for you. And basically he said, I didn't know so many people would be affected by watching me play. I'm just baffled. And anyway, he told McDonald, the reporter, that he was an amateur musician at the Journey tune was the first he had ever learned. He didn't have a piano at home, just a keyboard. The next day, he went back to the store after that and gave a performance of the song All of Me by John Legend. Oh. And the store owner basically said, he's a good young man, and I'm glad he gets to have the piano. If it brings joy into my life, if it brings joy into his life, that brings joy into my life. So we always talk about bringing joy. So of course, when I read this line, I was like, oh, this is my story. Bring joy, bring joy. Cute. Always bring the joy. Yes. So basically, essentially he did donate this piano to the kid. And the problem was that he lived in an apartment complex on the 4th floor. Oh, so essentially, again, in comes social media. So they post, a very talented and kind young man who will be receiving a piano. We can get it to his home, but we're having trouble finding a way to get it to the 4th floor. So basically they're looking for help. And the other post was, do we know anyone that can deliver a piano to the 4th floor? Asking for a friend. So anyway, I just thought that was cute and really just meaningful. And this kid, I'm sure when he sat down to play the piano, had absolutely no idea how much joy he was going to bring. And then it just comes full circle because the store owner's like, oh, this makes me so happy, so I want to share it with him. And just on it goes.
So cute. Love that.
Yeah, I really liked it. So listeners, if you have a verse that you'd like to share with us or an uplifting story, please email those to thecaregivenpodcast@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. We'd love to share your verses, your stories, things that are meaningful to you. Just get them sent in, thecaregivenpodcast@gmail.com.
You betcha. We love your submissions and your ideas and all of them.
Yep.
Absolutely.
All right, Julie.
Yes.
Aging in place.
Yes.
The stairs are getting so hard to climb. Since my wife died, I just open a can of soup for dinner. Mm-hmm. I've lived here 40 years. No other place will seem like home.
Right.
Any of those sound familiar?
Every single day. Yeah. Those are really emotionally packed things you just said.
Yes.
Because the stairs, the food issue, and just your heart.
Yeah. There's no place like home.
No place like home. This is where I raised my kids. This is where we did all of this. And maybe it's time to consider moving. And so it's tough.
Yes.
It's so hard.
Yeah. So basically, we wanted to come to you guys today with an episode that talks about as people start to age, these things are going to come up. And most people we have found want to stay at home. So are there things that you can do? Is there advice that we can give to you? Practices that you can put in place now so that as you start to age and have decline, you're able to stay in your home as long as safely possible.
Right. Planning ahead is hard because you never know how your needs are going to change. Mm-hmm. But the first step is to think about the kinds of help you might want in the near future. Mm-hmm. Maybe you live alone, so there's no one living in your home who is available to help you. Maybe you don't need the help now, but you live with a spouse or a family member who does. Mm-hmm. Everyone has a different situation. Mm-hmm. So basically what you want to first start looking at is, what are the challenges? Do you have any kind of an illness that down the road is going to become more of an issue? And so let's talk about what support can help me at home.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so the one thing to understand is in your community, there is a lot of resources. There's a lot. You just got to start asking questions. You can call an agency like ours. We spend a lot of time just counseling people on thinking about options for staying there at their house. When I do a home visit, we look around and give recommendations. If there's stairs, I just did a home visit the other day, and it was a big 2-story house, and the living quarters were upstairs. But I'll tell you what, they had the nicest chair on their stairs, that lift, and they said, "Oh, we put that in a couple of years ago." And so that before the parents even needed it, they knew that at some point those stairs were going to be a bugger. So that was really smart.
Yeah, it is really, and if you just put logic to it when you're looking at that home space, that's a really helpful thing to do. And then also, like you're saying, reach out into the community, call your agencies, call your agency on aging, talk to social workers, whatever you need to do. If you're finding yourself in a situation where you want to be at home, but maybe things are starting to decline to a place that you're not feeling as safe, or maybe it's, your parent you're seeing that they're having some struggles, just start thinking about what resources are available.
Yeah. So let's start with the very basic of personal care. Even as simple as taking a shower and worrying about getting in and out of the tub. And then can you reach up and can you wash your hair because you have arthritis or you have a shoulder situation or whatever the case may be. So what are you going to do? Make that list for your personal care. And then let's talk about how you might get some help for that. Yep.
Household chores can become a thing. Of course, I've made a conscious decision just to not worry so much about my house, but
right.
As long as nobody gets sick, we're gonna all be fine.
Yeah,
I'm just teasing. So basically, household chores. I mean, it becomes more exhausting and harder to do. What resources are out there to help you with those? Meals. Food is a big deal. Just as kind of the opening, talking about just opening up a can of soup, but meal preparation can be really, really hard. Some people get into a situation where they simply can't stand long enough to be able to do it. Maybe it's a cognitive situation and they're not safe to use the stove or the oven anymore because they'll forget it on. But reach out and see, maybe that person that's coming in to do personal care and get you through the bath, maybe they can make lunch, or maybe they can prepare something to have in the fridge that you just heat up later. Maybe you engage Meals on Wheels.
Yeah. There was one time we had that gentleman, he was a paraplegic, and he was just sick and tired of just eating Progresso soups. So he hired us to come in twice a week. And the first one, they would meal plan, they would go get the groceries. And then the second time we would come in and make, the casserole, but it was big enough for 3-4 meals. So they would put it into Tupperware and put the date on it, what it was, and put it in the freezer. So he was getting a lot more homemade meals besides just that processed stuff.
Yeah.
And he really benefited from that. So that was one of those where we were thinking outside of the box.
Yeah, absolutely. Financial and money management can become an issue. And that one's really, it's hard because a lot of times, family members will want to get involved and help. And as long as they're equipped to do it, then that's, you're more than welcome to do it that way. But also there are professionals out there that can help with money management if need be.
Yeah. When somebody calls us and just is trying to gain information, one of the things we do talk about is how is this going to be paid for? In our particular instance, we have the Medicaid program, we have the veterans, we have private pay, and then some third-party insurances. And so we talk about all of those, and you can tell immediately if somebody is worried about money and paying the bill, or they're okay. They don't have to worry about that. And so we just talk about, well, what are we going to do? How are we going to make this happen? And let's not let this person fall through the cracks.
Absolutely.
And so we do talk a lot about that, and then plan. Basically, I tell everybody, this is how much we cost. Now look at your budget. Then you can figure out how many hours you need us. And so when is those hours going to be best used?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of thought that actually goes into it.
So
maybe
much.
it's maybe parents are paying a portion of it, and kids are paying a portion of it. But we always like to, like you're saying, just let's put the numbers out there and then let's work backwards. If we know what our budget is, we know how many hours you can use or afford to pay for, and then where do we put those into your situation to be the most useful to your family.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah. So healthcare, of course, and that would be things like making sure that you're taking your medicine. Like, do you remember to take that? Do you need some sort of a reminder? Is it a situation where somebody needs to come over and fill pill boxes for you, or you get some type of a piece of equipment that, you know, if you're supposed to take your morning meds at 8, it reminds you and drops them out of the vending machine.
There's some awesome equipment out there just on the internet anymore. You can just Google anything and somebody somewhere has made it.
Oh, absolutely. And you think about, like, if someone is wanting to stay in their home, but med management is an issue, there are a lot of things that can be put into place to help them.
Right.
But if they're not put into place, or if nobody does anything or takes action on it, it can turn into a catastrophe.
Oh, bad thing. Yeah, it's there's a lot of people that just because they've been, I think of a gal that had diabetes and she'd had it for 40 years, and so she knew her routine. But as her cognitive abilities declined, that routine was just gone. She couldn't remember, and she needed those cues, but still had the diabetes and still had to have the meds. And so that, you know, was very much a worry for the family.
Yeah. Yep. Well, and then basically some of the common concerns that we see from people about aging in place is simply just getting around, even just in their home, and then being able to get into the community. That can be a big deal.
Yeah, we have had some, you know, taxis are always a tough thing in more of the rural areas like us. Uber, do we even have an Uber here?
I would think maybe there's something.
Maybe during the peak times, like summer, I bet.
Right.
But so we're not as easily, like some of the bigger places have. I know we have city buses and all that, but it's still a little harder to get around. But we also... We have a friend, Brody, and he, for those extreme cases where somebody is just not even able to weight bear, he has that wheelchair accessible van. The hospital has a program for that. And then Brody's also taken one of our clients in his ambulance to go get a CAT scan done because it needed to be done, but there was no way that this woman was going to be able to get in and out of an ordinary car. Right. So once again, you've got to know what your resources are out there. And so he picked her up at her home. They went and got the exam done and then took her back to her home. But she was able to be in home.
Yeah, that's awesome.
With that little extra help.
Yeah. I think that you can find yourself in a situation where activities and friends are limited. The more that the harder it becomes for you to get out. So maybe think about doing events at your own house. I know, like with my grandma, when it's harder for her to get out in the wintertime, she'll have her lady friends come over and they'll do lunch or have tea or things like that, where she's still getting that social engagement, but she's not having to get out into a situation that might be a little unsafe for her.
I would like to go to tea with Grandma.
Yes. It is delightful. Yes. Well, and then they have such a great core group of neighbors there. So one day, normally I know what my mom and grandma are up to, but one evening I had called and I was like, they are not answering. What is going on? Don't they know that I'm calling? Yes. Anyway, they had gotten an unexpected invitation from the neighbor, Wanda, to come for dinner. And Wanda is evidently a tremendous cook. So
can't turn that down.
Braved their way through the snow and they got it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Safety concerns, always you know, you got to be thinking about everything on that. If you're living by yourself, you need to have things in place where if you have a fall or if you're concerned about break-ins or anything like that, you just want to talk about it. And like, I don't remember if it was this episode or a previous one, have that plan in place, have the discussions, know what you're going to do in these certain scenarios.
Yep. Oh, there are a lot of concerns out there. And I think one of them is, when we talk about losing money through like a phone scam, or a lot of people get mail, and the Publishers Clearinghouse says that I just won $3 million, and they get so excited about that, because who wouldn't want to just be able to share that with their family and help those, and it's a lot of it is just not even correct. Good upstanding citizens that are doing that, trying to scam our elders. And we actually had a podcast on that. And if anybody's interested, they need to look for the one where we had Police Chief Doug Overman on as a guest. And we talked about those different kind of scams. And it's horrendous. It's horrendous. So we if your parent is living alone, you just keep an eye open.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Just be engaged. And I think a big thing is just getting really real with yourself about what the situation is, and if there are declines, and what safety measures. And a lot of times, if you have a parent or an elderly person that you're caring for, they might be resistant to some of the changes. But I think the argument that we always try to make is, everyone is just trying to keep you as safe as possible so that you can stay at home for as long as possible. So if you allow us to put a few of these things in place, it's going to make your ability to stay home a lot longer.
Right. Housing concerns, and that's just doing alterations to the house. And we have some of those that we're going to talk about in a little bit later. But I do know that my dad and I were having fisticuffs one time about, I recommended a ramp because their house is when you walk in, there's a handful of stairs up and a handful of stairs down. And I knew that just those 8 to 10 steps was going to be a problem. So I'm like, at some point, do we need to put a ramp in here? And he just was appalled. He was not impressed with me at all. But it was a logical discussion to have. And I think even if he was unable to walk ever, he would still walk up those stairs somehow before he got himself a ramp.
Yes. Well, and maybe if we're able to plant a seed with someone and then a little further on down the line, it becomes their idea, then it's brilliant.
Oh my word. Yes. And then the one place where we are integral in so many people's lives is getting help during the day. That's who we are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Day, night, morning, afternoon, evening, middle of the night, you name it. We're there. We've got you.
Yeah, we got you. I love that.
Yeah. So resources that people can start with. Easy one, just reaching out to people that just like with my grandma in the neighborhood there, and keeping the socialization going. Yeah. Utilize that, because I think we talk about it a lot. People are good and people want to help. Yeah. So just reach out.
Yeah. And if you are affiliated with the church, start talking to people there. I know that the majority of the people in my church are elderly, and there's a real community there, and they're all really taking care of each other. Yeah. But they don't know you need help unless you start talking about it.
Yes.
So put away that pride.
Yep.
And to start talking and seeing what options are out there to make your life just a tad easier.
Yeah. Learn about community and local government resources. We talked about that. Just start making phone calls, and if the easiest thing is to just look up in-home care agencies and then have them, get you further on down the line, do it. We love talking to people.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
If you hadn't noticed. Talking to case managers, geriatric case managers, your doctor's offices, anything like that. Just use your resources and ask a lot of questions.
Yeah, we have 3 lovely different long
life care planning.
Thank you.
That was rough.
Oh, yes.
Sorry about that, ladies.
Yes, they're just wonderful, though. They'll jump into any family situation and help from the money on up to, what does this person need daily to be able to stay in place.
One thing that I love about the ladies that we've been able to work with on that life care planning is they're like us. They're in the gutter, man. If part of the plan is getting in the shower and it takes 2 people, they're in the shower helping get that done.
Yeah. For sure. Oh gosh. And it's not cheap to age in place, but then again, it's not cheap to live regardless anymore.
This is true.
So you just have to really, I feel very strongly that if somebody wants to live in their home till the end, look at what it would cost you to be somewhere else, and to just realize that you're going to put that monies back into the home.
Right.
And be it care, be it revisions to the house or whatever. But if your mom or your dad or your grandpa wants to be in the house till the end, what can you do to make that happen? In the long run, it's really actually, it's less expensive.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I do believe that.
I do.
Okay, so you wanted to talk a little bit about basically like proactive steps that people can take within their homes to help them age in place.
Well, you were talking about earlier how when you guys did your house, you were thinking about down the road a bit.
Yeah.
And we were with one client that when they built the house for mom and dad, it was all about the ADA specs. Let's make the doors a little bit wider.
Yeah.
Let's make sure that it's all on one level, all of those things. And it sounds like you already did that.
Yeah, basically I wanted everything on one level. So we have a basement, and I actually want to move the laundry down into the basement. Currently it's when you walk in through the utility room. But as we put it together and laid out the design of what we wanted, it was really important to me that everything was accessible. So basically bathrooms, laundry, kitchen, everything is on one level.
Yeah.
We will eventually have to put a ramp in, but I mean, that's just kind of part of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Easy to do. Yeah. Cause I when we put this together, we just said, this is our forever home. This is where we want to be. So let's make it user friendly, knowing that this is where we want to live out our days.
Right. A lot of the home visits, and where I live, it's an older farmhouse. So that was not the thought process back then.
Right.
A lot of those bathrooms are very narrow. Those doors are very, very narrow, and you can't even get a walker through them. And so there's going to have to be some big adjustments. There's been more than one place that I have recommended that they take the door off.
Yes.
And when the person came from the hospital, they're like, "Where's my door?"
Rude.
and then like if you have the shower that has the slidey doors, take those off and get the curtains, and so there's very simple things to do. But still, some of the places it's concerning about how narrow things are, because how is somebody that can hardly motate themselves going to have a second person in there to help them?
Right.
So is there any kind of alterations you can make now? And if we kind of do those step by step, it's not going to be such a big hit financially when it all needs to be done.
Sure. Yeah, make
so let's start looking at modifications now. And they're saying that there should be at least one bedroom and one bathroom on the first floor, and that should be the higher priority for the older adults. Having a full bath and a master bedroom on the main floor makes it easier for those that have that trouble climbing stairs. Stairs just worry me.
Yeah. Oh, they do. Yeah. With my grandma and grandpa Fisher, grandpa had remodeled an old schoolhouse, and there's actually 3 levels.
Oh.
And I do think to some degree, going up and down the stairs was really good for them because just the exercise of it.
Right.
But when they reached a point that it just wasn't going to be safe for them to do that anymore, then they had to move, down on that first level.
Yeah.
And thankfully they had the ability to be able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Very often when I do a home visit and somebody's going to be coming home from the hospital and they want to know where to put the hospital bed. And so we kind of look at the layout and try to come up with, well, are you going to have a lot of visitors? Is there going to be a lot of in and out? Where can we put it that there's some privacy and some quiet? And we really have to think outside of the box because there are places they have literally taken the dining room, taken everything out of it, and then made it a temporary bedroom for somebody.
Yeah.
But they wanted that person at home. So they had to figure out how to do it. And they also knew that it was worth it for them to do that.
Yep.
And then there's no step entrances getting in and out. Even our beautiful building here, there's steps, but there's also a very nice ramp. And a lot of people use that because even younger people that have knee issues use the ramp.
Yep.
Yeah.
Another thing is basically trying to make sure that your controls and your electrical outlets and those types of things are accessible.
Yeah.
And we recently remodeled in our basement because our daughter is doing the Lightning in a Bottle boutique and she's doing a printing business. So she kind of took over the basement. And as we were doing the electrical, I was like, ooh, we need to have outlets that are like on the ground, but we also need to have outlets that are halfway up the wall because the printer's going to sit on a table and it's going to be halfway up the wall. If we could just plug it right in there, who knew? I was brilliant.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, once again, my older farmhouse, it doesn't have as many plugins.
Right.
So one of them, I had to put one of those cords that has multiple, and you have to be very careful that your electric setup can handle that.
Oh yeah. You don't want to cause a different issue.
Yeah, different issue for sure. Yeah. So that's a problem.
And it's all things that, it's great if you're just, doing a fresh, brand new construction build out or whatever to think about. And for the places that don't already have these, if you're able to make that modification, that's great. If not, just be, like you're saying, you have that electrical, like what are they called?
The strips.
The strips, yeah. Then just be very careful with them. Yeah. That you're not creating a fire hazard or anything like that.
For sure. Another thing is just space within the house. There have been multiple times that I've gone to a home visit and somebody collects magazines or the paper for the day, and it just starts to pile up, but they won't let us get rid of anything, but yet they have areas of walk that even their walker couldn't make it. So there's going to have to be some tough love there to just open stuff up. I'm always looking at corners. Can we move this back? That will give you another 8 inches. Right. When we turn this corner with a wheelchair, they're going to bump into this. So where will this go?
Right.
And some of that's really emotional. They're like, oh, that bed and that end table have been there always.
I know.
And so you have to consider if somebody's got a cognitive issue and they're going to be very upset about that, what's the lesser of evils?
Right.
Yeah. So really, but getting around, looking for cords, looking at those trip rugs, all of those things are someday going to be a problem if somebody's kind of doing that shuffle walk.
Yeah. Well, it's cool because when we go into to do a home visit, we actually have that home safety assessment. Yeah. And so it's a really great tool for us. And a lot of times people maybe won't even really think about
not at all
that. And then you bring it to the attention. It's like, oh, that makes a ton of sense.
Oh gosh. So. Very often the one room that I spend the most time in when we're talking about making life easier for everybody is the bathroom.
Yes.
And so it's very easy to jump in and out of the tub when you're able-bodied.
Yes.
But when you are not there, it's a real problem.
Yes.
And there are people that will go weeks without a bath.
Because they
won't go.
We have one client who I actually was just talking to the caregiver, and I don't even know what it is, so I'll have to look at it, but it's some type of an apparatus that goes on the tub that he can sit on, and then it actually lowers him down into the tub. Oh, I haven't even seen them.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to need one of those when I get older. I do enjoy a tub.
He just sits on it and it just goes down and then he takes that tub and then it will put him back up.
Yeah.
Very much like my grandma, she loves a hot bath, but boy, it's worrisome. She's not to get in there if she's home alone.
Right.
Because there are times she can't get out.
Yes.
But the other day I did a home visit and it was an older tub, so it was narrower and higher. Yeah. I was like, how in the heck are we going to get that little person to put their foot all the way over there and be safe?
Right.
And so once again, take out the doors, get that handheld.
Well, the doors are the first thing to go. It's the answer to everything.
Yes. And the family looked at me, but then logic, they're like, you're right. That will be one less thing to bang my shoulder into as I'm trying to help her. And then when they get wet and sudsy, then they're slickery, Oh my goodness. So many things to think about.
For sure. Something that you can think about in the kitchen, and it would be in the bathroom as well, to have drawers instead of shelves, like to pull stuff. I want that now. I think that is one thing we didn't think about.
Yeah.
Kevin, where's Kevin?
Yeah.
We need to make a modification.
Well, in our old house, when I was a kid, whoever built them must have been a really tall person because everything was really high. And we have some of our clients that are shorter in stature, and there is no way they're going to be able to get up there. And so are we going to bring stuff down to our level?
Yeah. And then on the drawers, the pulls, maybe consider instead of like a knobby, some type of a not knobby. How's that?
Right.
Right. The other thing that we've done, and we did it here at the office, and now I have it at my house, is our door handles. The ones that you push it down instead of it being a knob where you have to turn it.
Yeah.
It just, it's just like an actual handle. You push it down, you're good to go.
Right.
I love those.
Oh, so much easier.
So much easier.
Yeah. How about those? While we're talking about like the kitchens and bathroom, we had that one family that, for their dad, they had, when you went up to wash your face or to wash your hands, he could just bring his wheelchair right up to the sink because they did not close it in for storage area. They put it where he could come right up and be able to stay independent because he was able to do his own thing. The other thing that they did was that bathroom was beautiful, and he could just roll in to the shower.
Yes.
And they did have a special shower chair for him that could get wet. It wasn't his regular. But boy, that made life so much easier. We also had a family that there was simply no way that they could get dad into his tub, and he loved his tub. And so they would take him at least once a week up to one of the assisted livings, and they had the tub where they could just put him in there, close the door, and then the water would rise up. And they allowed people from the community to come and use it.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so he still got his tub, but it just wasn't at the house. So it was a little bit harder, but so worth it.
Oh, man, that's awesome. I actually just saw one of those types of tubs in Spokane, actually. We had gone to pick Alyssa's wedding dress.
Ooh, Alyssa.
It was so much fun.
Oh, my goodness.
We got to wedding dress shop, and we got to Hey Dude's shoes shop, and we had great food and good company. And I saw one of those walk-in tubs.
Oh, right on.
Yep. I tried it, but I walked in, closed the door, didn't fill it up with water.
I was going to say you didn't really try it.
I didn't really.
You tried it, but you didn't.
Not really try. Oh, goodness. Yeah, bathrooms are definitely, it's a trouble spot.
Oh, boy.
Can be a trouble spot.
Yep. And then lighting in the house. Very important.
Yep.
And putting strips on the stairs so that you can see that there's a different level.
Yeah, changing the color, just that if you put that darker strip on, so visually you are aware of the change.
More and more light, night lights for when you get up in the middle of the night and all of that. Just a few of those little things will be make your life so much easier.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Just really consider all of the safety things that you can do. And again, if you have someone that wants to stay at home but is maybe arguing about the changes, just remind them that the reason why you want to do that is so that they can stay home.
Yeah.
Yeah. A few little changes can make a world of difference.
Yes.
Because we all want to age in place, don't we?
Yeah, we do. The majority of everybody, absolutely. Yeah. They want to. They want to be in their home.
I don't know that I've ever met someone that was like, hey, I want to go to a nursing home.
Yeah.
Have you?
No.
I didn't think so. Me neither. I mean, it could happen.
Right.
But
it
hasn't so far.
No. No. Actually, Sophia Loren, she just kind of brings it all together. She said, aging is meaningless and cannot let this rule your life. Try not to allow a number to define your existence. What we need to give more attention to is our consciousness and passions. No matter if you're aging, follow your passions. This will always keep you young at heart. There is a fountain of youth. It is your mind, your talents, the creativity you bring to your life, and the lives of the people you love. When you learn to tap this source, you will truly have defeated age. It says, with every aging chapter of your life, you will shift. Your insights will change constantly, continuously. It is your perception of how you grasp experiences. This defines your character. I often question whether women or men feel expectations when becoming older. We may all feel this at any stage of our lives. You are a gift to life. What holds significance is how much you value yourself. We are here for a brief period, learn lessons, and evolve our mind.
Well, and I love this quote from Francis Lear. I believe the second half of one's life is meant to be better than the first half. The first half is finding out how you do it, and the second half is enjoying it.
Oh, yes.
Isn't that awesome?
Yes, there's a Tim McGraw song. What is it about how my next 30 years?
Oh, yeah.
That was, my dad loved that song. He said, this is my song. Those next 30 years, the first ones were awesome. These are going to be even better.
That's so cool. Oh, goodness. Well, we are going to wrap up with a grandma saying. And this was from Candy.
Yes.
Candy's submission was that her grandma always made her feel that she had been waiting to see just her all day long. And then once she saw her, the day was complete.
Oh, isn't that what grandmas do?
They do.
Oh,
they make you feel pretty special.
Pretty special.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us today. If you haven't yet done it, please go and subscribe. You can do that on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. You can watch us on YouTube. Leave us a review. Share us with your friends. Please go and join our Apaga Care and Share group. That is on Facebook. And we're trying to do a better job of getting information out there and putting the podcasts on there for you guys. Leave us a review. We'd love it as long as it's positive. And I think that's it. So peace out, Girl Scouts.
Yes, have a good day.